when Islamic State, IS, announced an Indian-based province, Wilayah, on May 10, 2019, IS effectively consolidated previously fragmented pro-IS jihadist entities under the IS Hind, IS province banner. IS aimed to increase its recruitment and operational success in embattled Kashmir, which has a long tradition of Islamist militancy. However, IS also launched a propaganda campaign to have a broader pan-Indian impact. IS sought to unite diverse pro-IS Indian groups and individuals under its purview, including those from Kashmir to Kerala as well as those fighting alongside IS Khorasan, IS-K province in Afghanistan. All IS-inspired groups or units, including initial groups such as Ansar-u-Khilafah, supporters of the Caliphate, in Jammu and Kashmir and Jund-ul-Khilafah, army of the Caliphate, eventually became subsumed under IS's opaque organizational structure notwithstanding. The organization was dominated by Kashmiri jihadists and has struggled to extend its influence throughout India. This article explores the emergence and consolidation of IS and how Kashmir remains Indian jihadism's epicenter both in terms of IS media and armed campaigns in the country. Since October 2014, IS has garnered support from Indian jihadist groups and individuals marked by a series of loyalty videos. One such early video pledge, for example, came from Karnataka-born Sultan Abdul Qadir Umar, who was a Lakh-Udarul Ulum Nadwatul Ulma trained Islamic preacher, former Indian Mujahideen leader, and head of the pro-IS Ansar al-Tawheed fi Bilad al-Hind, supporters of monotheism in the land of India. In October 2014, he urged Muslims to kill foreigners and Hindus and pledge their loyalty to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi before he himself was killed in Kobani, Syria. It was, however, only in May 2016 that IS Homs province in Syria released its first official video message, which featured Indian fighters and was called Bilad al-Hind, Land of India, Between Pain and Hope. The video urged Indian Muslims to travel to Syria and Iraq and called for jihad to avenge atrocities against Muslims in Kashmir, Gujarat, and Muzaffarnagar in Uttar Pradesh, as well as for the 1992 demolition of the Babri Masjid in Ayodhya, Uttar Pradesh by Hindu right-wing activists. Jihadology, May 19, 2016. In July 2017, reports of IS outreach in Kashmir emerged when another cell called Ansarul Khilafah in Jammu and Kashmir used Telegram to disseminate IS propaganda materials along with bomb-making and attack manuals. IS first attacks against Indian security personnel occurred soon after in Srinagar, Kashmir on November 17, 2017. Pro-IS militants also targeted separatist Hurriyat Party leader Fazl-Haq Qureshi, who is pro-Pakistan but seeks a peaceful settlement with India and Pakistan, on February 25, 2018. Although Qureshi survived the attack, a policeman was killed in the gunfight. IS semi-official Islamic news agency claimed both these attacks. After these two attacks, on March 11, 2018, three pro-IS militants, Sayyid Owais, Muhammad Esa Fazili, and Muhammad Tawfiq, were killed in Anantnag area of Kashmir. India's government and security agencies, which had initially denied IS presence in Kashmir, finally admitted that IS had an underground existence in the state. The Director General of Jammu and Kashmir, J&K, police also stated IS trendlines were a worrying sign. The establishment of IS Hind province. IS publications and Indian security agencies' reports of jihadists' arrests since 2016 made evident that Kashmir-based pro-IS elements, who still often call themselves Jund-ul-Khilafah, were operating under IS Khorasan, IS-K province in IS organizational structure. Therefore, it was unsurprising that following the March 2018 Anantnag encounter, India cracked down on the still embryonic pro-IS formations in Kashmir. In response, several attacks took place in Kashmir, including a June 16 operation claimed by IS-K targeting an Indian Army checkpoint in Srinagar. Later, in June 2018, a self-proclaimed IS Emir in Kashmir issued an Eid ul-Fitr message urging Muslims to carry out lone wolf operations, with emphasis on vehicular attacks, and encouraging all Indian Muslims to support IS. Half a year later, pro-IS elements in Kashmir were again active when the Kashmiri spokesman of Jund-ul-Khilafah issued a statement honoring the martyrdom of another Kashmiri fighter, who targeted Indian security officials in Srinagar. despite ISIS's official formation in May 2019 with an inaugural attack claimed to mark the occasion. The period surrounding that attack was unremarkable for the organization. ISIS otherwise conducted only several low-scale attacks targeting security officials, which may have been timed to coincide with and highlight their new presence. The nascent ISIS also suffered leadership losses due to existing schisms between militant groups in the region. Amid growing tensions between Pakistan-backed militants, such as Hizbul Mujahideen and Lashkar-e-Taiba, LET, and pro-IS militants in Kashmir, a senior ISIS leader, Adil Ahmed As, who was previously with LET, was killed by his former comrades in Anantnag on June 26, 2019. ISIS officially claimed its first attack in a gap of 8 months in early February 2020 when its fighters targeted a paramilitary, Central Reserve Police Force, checkpoint on Srinagar's outskirts. Later that same month, ISIS Arabic-language newsletter Al-Naba claimed several previously unclaimed attacks in Kashmir. Further, on April 7, ISIS claimed another attack on the paramilitary forces in Anantnag. Meanwhile, pro-ISIS Al-Burhan media issued a statement threatening to target India's External Intelligence Agency, Research and Analysis Wing, RAW, India's counter-terrorism agency called the National Investigative Agency, NIA, and Hindu right-wing organizations like Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS). After April, ISIS was weakened substantially in its Kashmir strongholds and even weaker elsewhere in India due to persistent counter-terrorism operations. The group only carried out several small-scale grenade attacks against security checkposts in Kashmir in May and June 2020. Operational setbacks in terms of the deaths and arrests of ISIS fighters and a decreasing attack tempo, however, did not halt pro-IS propaganda. For example, pro-ISIS media group, Al-Haqiqah Media, Truth Media, released an online poster on May 22 to threaten attacks against Hajratbul Shrine, which is considered to be the holiest Muslim shrine in Srinagar because it contains Prophet Muhammad's hair. However, IS considers worshipping this relic to be apostasy. Previously, Al-Haqiqah shared online posters threatening the Supreme Court building and the India Gate in Delhi and high-ranking officials, including Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. IS Hind province's pan-Indian plans and media operations. Jund al-Khilafah, which later reinvented itself as Ansarul Khilafah al-Hind and evolved into ISIS, had 3 official media units called Al-Burhan, Al-Qital, and Al-Targhirat, which spearheaded propaganda campaigns and promoted IS in Kashmir. Al-Burhan media published Al-Risalat, The Message, newsletter from October to December 2018 in Urdu and English and circulated 2 other issues in January and February 2019. The newsletter resembled IS flagship magazine, Dabiq, and sought to bridge the gap of communication between jihadists in Kashmir and ordinary Indian Muslims. Al-Risalah further addressed the turf war among Kashmir-based militants, such as LET, and Al-Qaeda-supported Ansar Ghazwatul Hind, including their misplaced ideological goals and jihadist orientations. Indeed, Al-Risalah articles mentions battlefield sacrifices and tributes to slain members, and criticisms against India and Pakistan triggered defections from existing Kashmiri militant groups to what soon became ISIS, which had Kashmir as its epicenter. After ISIS formation, IS Arabic-language weekly magazine Al-Naba, issue 221, further published a scathing criticism against India's New Citizenship Act in February 2020 and blamed the act's passing on democratic institutions and anti-Muslim government policies. Jund al-Khilafah's media houses, such as Al-Qital, also engaged in propagating ISIS through its monthly magazine Sort Al-Hind, Voice of India, distributed through Telegram. On February 24, Sort Al-Hind's first issue was launched and called for jihad in response to rights violations against Muslims throughout India. It further urged Indian Muslims to wake up and fight against the atrocities committed by the Hindu nationalist government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In addition, it demanded Indian Muslims to abandon peaceful protests and rubbing shoulders with communists, atheists, Christians and secularists, and to establish Islamic rule in India. The issue reproduced material from IS magazine Rumiyah's 1 September 2016 issue, including tributes to slain ISIS fighters. Meanwhile, Sort al-Hind also quoted rival al-Qaeda ideologue Anwar al-Awlaki's now famous line, "The caravan is moving, the more you delay in joining it, further, it will get away and the harder it will be to catch up with," to invite al-Qaeda members to defect to ISH. The second Sort al-Hind issue, among other themes, exploited the COVID-19 pandemic and urged Indian jihadists to target security forces deployed on the streets with a sword or a knife or even a rope. The issue argued COVID-19 was a force of God, Allah, to create chaos among the non-Muslim countries, including India. The third issue of Sort al-Hind echoed the concept of Ghazwatul Hind, Final Battle of India, which for the first time resembled the narratives pushed by al-Qaeda in the Indian subcontinent, AQIS, and its affiliated Kashmiri jihadist groups. Nevertheless, Sort al-Hind regularly featured criticisms against al-Qaeda and the Taliban, including, for example, in issue 2, which featured an article titled "Taliban, From Jihad to Apostasy." Also notable about Sort al-Hind was its broadening of the perceived geographical influence of ISH, calling on Muslims in Pakistan, Kashmir, Bangladesh, Maldives, Sri Lanka and India to join and wage jihad. Subsequent Sort al-Hind issues had dedicated pages on other South Asian countries and praised IS attacks, including for example, arson in the Maldives in issues 3 and 4 and a sorcerer's beheading in Bangladesh in issue 7. Similarly, the April 2019 Easter Sunday violence in Sri Lanka received mention in Sort al-Hind issue 3, with praise for the attackers shedding the blood of crusaders and glorifying the caliphate. Sort al-Hind issue 5 further distributed transcripts of his official spokesperson Abu Hamza al-Qureshi's audio statement in at least 14 languages, including Maldivian, Dabiq, Urdu, and Bengali. The magazine, whose 9th issue was released in October 2020, has continuously published jihadist interviews, honored slain fighters, provided news from Khorasan to Syria, and posted a gruesome image of the beheading of a French schoolteacher in October 2020. The most recent issue 10 also carried an excerpt from the latest speech of his spokesman Abu Hamza al-Qureshi, which urged Muslims to defend the honor of Prophet Muhammad, and mentioned incidents of blasphemy in the Indian subcontinent and beyond. Although Sort al-Hind has insinuated a pan-Indian subcontinent orientation, neither Sort al-Hind nor other propaganda from ISH has highlighted pro-IS developments in southern India, such as Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, or Andhra Pradesh, where efforts were previously made to recruit for IS. Sort al-Hind magazine has nevertheless eulogized several suicide bombers from Kerala, who fought with ISK, including Abu Khalid al-Hindi, who led the attack on a Sikh Gurudwara in Kabul in March 2020, and Abu Ruwaha al-Hindi, who conducted a suicide bombing at a prison in Jalalabad, Afghanistan in August 2020. While these eulogies could be part of establishing influence for IS in southern India, they stand out as the exception, and not the rule. Conclusion. A look at the messaging in Sort al-Hind and attacks perpetrated by ISH demonstrates that the group's fighters and areas of operations remain primarily in Kashmir. ISH's reach elsewhere, such as southern India, is more questionable, and southern Indian jihadists may be even more inclined to join ISK rather than ISH. The various online pro-IS and official IS media outlets that are attempting to reach out to India's Muslim minority throughout the country nevertheless suggest it is possible, but still not imminent, that ISH will eventually recruit and operate in parts of India beyond its Kashmir bases.